In this video, I will be explaining why the Republican Party in America should be going with fiscal progressivism. So the reason why I think that they should go with fiscal progressivism is because whatever the Trump administration is doing now, it clearly isn't working. Because what we have seen in Donald Trump's second term is that Donald Trump is basically losing all the demographics that he won in 2024 that helped him win the election. So he is losing, for instance, the Latin vote, and he's lost the Latin vote, and he's lost any other demographics that he's won over. So whatever he's doing now clearly isn't working. And as a result, Donald Trump is seeing some of the worst polls in the modern era that America has ever seen. So it's showing that whatever tendencies or whatever Donald Trump is committing to now just simply isn't working. So the thing that the Republicans in America should go with is fiscal progressivism. So what exactly is fiscal progressivism? Well, it's based on this idea that whatever the progressives advocate for, the progressive leftists advocate for, the Republican Party should do like a fraction of whatever the progressives, whatever the lefties want to do. So when I first originally created fiscal progressivism as an idea for the future of conservative politics, it was actually inspired by American politics, and it was inspired by the Republican Party. And fiscal progressivism initially was like a prediction theory that eventually the progressives are going to do so well in politics, and I think that they will do so well in politics once they get supported by the Democratic Party, that eventually what's going to happen is the Republicans are going to be completely shut out of elections because the progressives will be offering so much more better policies than whatever the Republicans were going in. So I was basically predicting that the Republican Party is going to start doing fiscal progressivism, which is doing a portion whatever the progressives want to do. So say when you come, so examples would be, is like the progressives in America want to jump from like a $7.50 minimum wage straight to a $15 minimum wage. So what I said the Republicans should do, and the number that I went with is I reckon that the Republicans should do 25% of whatever the progressives on the left want to do in the Democratic Party. So whatever the increase from $7.50, I know the minimum wage is roughly around that amount. Whatever the increase from $7.50 to 15 is, the Republican Party should do 25% of that progressive policy. Other things that they can do is when it comes to student loan debt forgiveness. Instead of forgiving, for those who apply all of their student loan debt, instead they should forgive 25% of their student loan debt. And the same would be like in the UK. Instead of doing getting rid of tuition fees, they should be advocating for, if the Republicans were to do this, instead of getting rid of tuition fees, they would lower the tuition fees by 25%. So, well, there are ways in which they could pay for this. One, they could either, tax the rich or try and convince rich people to back certain plans, which I think I call that like voluntary tax, like trying to convince, instead of like forcing rich people to pay more taxes, instead, you try to inspire them, encourage them, and try to like get them to give extra tax voluntarily to fund different things. So they can either tax the rich, or they can do voluntary tax of the rich, or like do a voluntary tax campaign. Or they would need to like severely lower the military budget every year. And those are things that like the left would want them to do as well. But those are the two things that they could do to basically still to what was I saying? I think those two things were about, oh, how would they fund these progressive policies by taxing the rich more, or lowering the military budget. Yeah, so that's how they could pay. And obviously America is like the richest country in the world, and obviously they can afford to pay for all these things. They have the biggest wealth, the biggest amount of wealth to tax. So obviously, there's no such thing as like they can't afford it because they think they can. And another thing that I forgot is another thing that the Republicans should do is, instead of doing full-on free healthcare, they should forgive 25% of medical debt, for example. Um, so I think that they would have much more success committing to fiscal progressivism than doing whatever they do now. And the thing is not only would this just be good in general, but also that not only do I think they'd have more success, but also I think fiscal progressivism would actually entice more independent voters and maybe even liberal voters to voting for Republicans. So because of that, I think that if they did fiscal progressivism, the Republican Party will be guaranteed to get more success. So anyway, those are basically my arguments of me explaining why the Republicans in America should definitely 100% go with fiscal progressivism. And they should do, my recommendation is to do 25% progressive policies, or 25% fiscal progressivism. So anyway, so that's the video. If you like what you hear on the True Centrism channel, the pioneer of True Centrism show, please tune in for more content. Please like and subscribe, share the video. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you, and I hope my ideas today will completely change American politics and drastically improve people's lives. And I think this will do like a ton of good. So thank you very much for listening to the video. I really, really appreciate it.